We're live.
Live, everyone.
Oh, yes. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Getting ready for another Linux Weekly Daily Wednesday. Fun times.
Hello, Artherin. Hello, Steve Husband.
Hello, my boo, Steve Husband.
All the Steves. Terrified. Petrified. Got a pretty interesting show coming up. Going to be talking about Slackware, Debian, KDE, configuring USB holes over IP, and some of your feedback. Got some questions, some thoughts. This is the pre-show zone.
Yes, and bonus weep points for you, Zoe. You got the the YOLO comment.
If it was Saturday, that wouldn't be my hand. Just saying. What's everyone up to? Jill?
Hi, Chipsy. Oh boy. Had a good Monday. Went to a new meetup. That was really cool. And got to get more women into Linux. That always makes me happy.
Pedro, are you done educating yourself? Do you consider yourself intelligent now?
Well, in the traditional sense, yeah, I'm done educating myself.
Like, listen, this was a hard choice of either getting out of work but having to learn things.
Yeah.
But yes, in the not so traditional way, I am still very much to learning new things. Well, not traditional for me anyway, because in Portugal, that's not a thing that happens. Usually work doesn't just pay for you to get certifications and the exams for said certifications. They just say, yeah, you can take it, but we'll deduct it from your paycheck.
It did get me curious, man. I looked up what it would take to renew or re-up my, what is it, RCHE? Wait.
Yeah.
RS,
Oh,
whatever
yeah.
that is. The certified engineer thing.
Certification, yes.
Yeah. I'll stay dumb and out of date.
Yeah, since the NHS and Health Education England in specific have an agreement with QA, and they offer the CompTIA certifications. It's a nice price, and it's included in the budget for the IT team. So, yeah.
Cool.
We need to-
Hi, Arthur. Hi, Zoe. Hi, Mr. Red.
Wonder what it would cost to force you to take the MCSE.
Oh God. Yeah.
I wouldn't be. Hey, it is your birthday. I should get you something.
Yes. Oh.
Seems like the proper white elephant gift.
And let's see. I think Steve Husband wants me to show my mug. This is a special mug, another JPL mug, Mars Exploration Rover. This is before even Spirit and Opportunity were launched on Mars.
Oh,
So it's another one of our collectorized items.
is that one of the ones that ate dirt?
Yeah. Yes.
It's like, hi Mars, will you be my friend? And it was about that moment the rover thought to itself.
I mean, there's always that thing. If you think about it, Mars right now is the only planet that we know of that is populated entirely by robots.
Yes.
And lizard people.
We don't know that. Officially. Hi, CIA. How you doing?
No, man, that's going to be like, it's not going to be the CIA, it's going to be like the Dairy Farmers Association of America. That's like their
It's just
job.
a front.
Right.
Oh yeah, we milk cows, but that's just a front.
Milk cows hide aliens.
Oh, the cows are the aliens. Ooh.
Right.
Hi, Pennywise.
Oh, that's right. 2 of them ate dirt.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that Soviet Russia made like a moon rover like back in the 70s. I was like, huh.
Did they get it up there?
Yeah, yeah.
All right.
I mean, they had a better looking soundstage than we did.
Didn't look anywhere near as fake.
Mm-hmm. That's adorable.
Yeah, Theron,
no
we
one
don't know
knows.
Yeah, we don't know what game we're going to play yet. I'm going to be talking to Jordan.
Tune in to find out somewhere between 7:30 tomorrow.
Oh, no. We'll put the announcement out earlier. It's just, usually by now we've talked, but we hadn't yet.
Yeah, no, that was me yesterday. I got home and I was just like, I gotta get it running. I gotta get it. Damn it, it doesn't run. Okay, I gotta think of something. Open Steam distance. Yeah, this is what we'll do.
You're like, hey, I just got this new copy of Road Rash. Maybe I should play with that.
Yeah, I haven't played it at all yet, so that will come.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, Pedro, I love that you played distance. It was fun to see how you did the tricks, so now I know what to look for.
Yeah, it's just a matter of, because they're very clever in the way that they make the tracks, because they give you little glimpses. It's like, ooh, you can see the outline of the checkpoint over there because of all the green glow. Or you can see the blue bit where you need to go. That'll give you your wings back. So that's how people learn how to bypass certain sections of levels.
Yeah.
You mean cheat?
Yeah.
Sure. That is an idea, Zoe. I might take you up on that. Turbo Bread is failing. It's just that there is a bit of the story campaign in Morrowind that's just painful to get through.
Hmm.
It's when you're trying to get all the tribes to recognize you as the embodiment of Indoril Nerevar.
Oh,
It's
yeah,
like-
that.
It's just a bunch of fetch quests and meandering about and escort quests. It's like, no, no more, please.
I've always wanted to ride a silk strider. I had a dream one time where I was riding one. It's like a giant flea.
Yeah, until you
very
think about it, they literally dug a hole into its shell where people go in. That's
Yeah.
very. That thought
Yeah.
feels very goopy in my mind.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like, oh, the giant bug juices everywhere.
Ew.
But yeah, they managed to find a way after the Oblivion Crisis to kill off most of the Silt Striders. In the Skyrim timeline, there's only one left.
Every time you say Silk
Yeah.
Strider, I just think of a more effeminate Strider.
Yeah.
And now you're riding him, so my brain doesn't
Yeah.
know what to do with that.
Poor Matthew. That's pretty funny then.
I mean, he's almost tall enough to pass for one, sure.
Oh.
Shopping for PC case, man. You can, cardboard box. I've been there, done that. And that's if I was feeling fancy. A lot of times it was just splayed out on the floor.
Yeah.
I got mine because I didn't want to buy all the fans necessary to get the airflow I wanted. And this one's like, oh, it already comes with 4 120mm fans. Neat.
What was, thought I saw on PC Pro, I don't know if it was last week, but they were, what did they release? It was something with RGB. I think it was a SSD with RGB on it.
Oh, yeah.
It was the SSD and the power cables.
Yeah.
I knew the power cables were a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, yeah, SSDs. Wow.
I mean, let's be honest, SSDs nowadays, the 2.5-inch form factor, there's a lot of free space. They can easily shove an RGB controller in there.
Oh, you can. All PSUs are RGBs if you put enough liquid in them.
The sparks are so pretty.
Capacitors, man, they're beautiful when they go.
Oh, yeah.
That 0.0.0.10th of a second is great.
So, looks like everything is doing good.
Hi, Necronomicon.
Blue.
Are we just not getting any good results from Brad this week? Huh?
Yeah, no, Brad is failing miserably.
Oh, look at all
Well,
that beautiful.
that's very
nightmare
clearly all white.
Hey, man, that is a collection of the RG and B at once.
Yeah. Yeah, no, the Corsair Carbide cases, they look very good. Until you look at the price tag. Like, and yeah, I can buy like another 16 gigs of RAM for that price. No.
What's that from? Die Hard?
Is that Bruce Willis?
Yeah, so I was thinking Die Hard. That was Bruce Willis with hair.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Yep. There's-
A very young Bruce Willis. Wow, okay.
Sometimes. Alright.
It's another caravan being blown up. It's like another episode of old Top Gear.
It's Caravan, man. It's a pox.
I love it when they do those races going around and around a track.
It's like
That was one of the
one of the
best
final
episodes.
seasons they had with May, Hammond, and Clarkson. They had like the Mazda CX-5 and the Peugeot whatever, and the other one, and it's like, yeah, these are very popular in the UK, and now we're going to race them
Yeah.
with a trailer.
Yep, that's what the dairy farmers told me. Yeah, seems legit.
James Franco, James May. I booped the microphone and it fell.
This is my favorite part of Wednesday, is to see who attacks their microphone the most. Pedro
I
and Jill.
did. I very much did just now.
Like, I didn't hit the microphone. I was like, I'm watching it on the screen. Come on.
I usually call myself out, so it's in my brain. It's like, nope, don't do that anymore.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I think we are ready to get started.
I'm just about ready to cook.
Ready to cook.
Yeah, it's warm.
Yeah.
What? It's 31 outside right now.
Yeah, no, it's only like 26 here, but it's really warm. Oh, and the thunderbugs are going crazy. If you walk outside, you'll get your arms covered in these teeny tiny little insects. It's just look,
Oh boy.
what the hell are
Did they-
you? Oh.
Do they bite?
No.
Oh, okay. That's good.
They're like the ephemeral. There are the ephemeral bugs that live for like 24 hours. I think these live for like 48.
Oh, okay.
And they're everywhere. They're so annoying. Like the moment the heat comes back, it's like, oh, there we go. Hello.
Zoe.
It's nice. Proper summer weather.
Yeah, it's only about 20 Celsius here, but the humidity is way up, which is unusual for us. So I've got the air conditioner on. Keep it dry.
That is something after we find a nice place that the rent isn't too expensive that we will have to get is a dehumidifier, because damn.
Oh. Oh, yeah. That would be good.
All right.
Yes.
I think we're good. I cut off all the noisatrons. Now we get to be the noisatrons if I can find the cursor. There it is. Pause.
Yeah, no. I'm glad I left the hold down control to blink where the cursor is. It's like, oh, there it is.
1, 2, 3. I only got 5. So the problem with having a bunch of monitors is you quickly find uses for them.
Yeah.
Yes.
I wanted more than 3, but because I have the big 30-inch monitors, when I added a 4th, I couldn't see it. So it's too far away.
That's when you gotta go up. You gotta start stacking.
Yeah.
But it's like, yeah. But then I can't read anything on it. So,
I only have 3 and I have to stack them because really
Jill.
teeny tiny table.
One word, Jill. Binoculars.
yeah. Yeah.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, let's do a show. Wait, hang on. To the other computer, and because that's going to drive somebody crazy. That's hide it by the lower third. There we go. It gets hella confusing with 2 keyboards and 2 mice and 2 cursors. I've spent an inordinate amount of time. Like, why isn't that cursor moving?
Oh, wrong mouse.
Wrong. Yeah.
That's me at work. It's like I'm moving the mouse. Why isn't the... Oh, right. Not this computer. Yeah.
Well, I repurposed that silent mouse. And that's just... it's confusing because it's wireless and it's USB. Not, it's Bluetooth. So I expect it to quit working at any moment. So the immediate thought is, no, it's just dead. That's why it's not moving.
They last for a while on AA batteries now. It used to be that they would last for like a month. Now they last for like 3.
Cool. Let's do it.
Yes.
Steve's level 12. Don't tell him.
Huh?
Let's get that. Record. All right. Coming at you in 3, 2.
Slackware turns 25.
Debian joins the KDE advisory board.
And a handy guide for configuring USB over IP. All this plus more, because it's another great day for Linux, everyone. So let's go. 2, 3. And welcome back to Linux Weekly Daily Wednesdays, where we're going to sit back, relax, take that midweek break, talk about some of the fun, interesting things that we found going on in the world of floss, penguins, whatever you want to call it. I'm Ben Stone, joined every week by Jill Bryant, remember?
Hello.
All the way on the island, fresh back from education land in Londinium.
Yes.
Pedro Mateus. What's going on, everybody? Pedro, you're back in one piece. And...
Yes, I went through a whole week in London getting the CompTIA Security Plus certification. The exam will be coming up shortly. It's just a matter of me actually sitting down and having a look through those massive manuals, what they hand you. It's they're big. They're really big.
Is it or are you like me? You retain the knowledge just long enough to get through it, and
yeah,
if you don't use it, you lose it.
Poof. It's like, oh, how about this thing? Is that a color?
True. What's new in LA?
Oh, why? Well, I attended a new meetup Monday at the Long Beach Women in Tech meetup. And it was cool because I got to talk about my history and careers in computing, my history using Linux. And of course, I promoted Linux heavily to the ladies because most of them were Windows and Mac users. And I passed out some more LGC flyers. So hopefully we'll get some more listeners and viewers. From the meetup, and more additions to our Linux chicks of Los Angeles.
Sounds terrifying. Is there always like one person that's like, oh, they use C64s?
Oh, no, I was it. You know, because everyone else, it was mostly 20 and young 30 somethings. So they didn't. I had to explain what a BBS was.
Oh. just make sure you don't Google it, like image safe search. Make sure that's on. Trust me.
Yeah.
Over here in Vinland, been playing around. I've been talking to. Oh, I love dealing with Chinese companies directly because the first offer of like this costs this much monies. That's their way of saying hello. And I've started with like $120 capture product that I plan on buying 2 of, and we're down to 70. Negotiations are still ongoing. Right before the show started, this showed up. Ta-da!
Awesome.
This is how we make it rain. This is how we live exorbitantly. Thanks to our patrons, we picked up a certified refurbished monitor, so we can have Pedro, Jordan, and Jill all on screen, and more importantly, for the satellite boxes, I don't have to configure them through OBS anymore.
Which you can just mirror the screens.
I assure you, it is entertaining to watch, but it is quite frustrating. So I'll be playing with that later today. It's a good thing it didn't show up earlier because I don't have self-control very much, and I would have tried to get it set up on these stands. It's brilliant. So let's get right into this, starting with a birthday announcement. Not Pedro's, because Pedro's was like 2 days ago. And
yes, Monday. Yay! So this is the 25th birthday of the oldest active Linux distro around, Slackware. And many of us who have been in Linux for many years, this was how we learned Linux. And I in particular remember configuring F86 config, getting Slackware installed and running Window Maker for the first time, and how exciting that was. So this distro, I still use it on several of my machines here, and it's one of my favorites. It also they had put out a release called Zip Slack, which was a FAT and FAT32 DOS loopback directory install of Slackware, and it actually was the precursor to the Linux Live CD and USB. So that was kind of a big deal. And I still have my original install running on a 486 back behind me. It's pretty cool, and it still works.
Hipster. I remember like Slack back in the day. I distinctly remember installing the point release 1.0 because I think it came on like 24 something floppies. And
yes,
because I had to go buy a multi-pack for them. And you had to do this back in the day because, you know, the only CD burners available were SCSI, and they were astronomically expensive.
Yeah. Yes.
I just remembered when I was reading through that and like getting X up and running for the first time. This was like a week-long weekend project.
Yeah.
And did I ever squee as a little teenager? Just like,
yes. Aww. It was nice not burning out your monitor, wasn't it?
Oh, man. You remember... You used to have to set that correctly, too. You had to look up your specs, or you could smoke your CRTs. And, you know, this was 95, somewhere there, 94, 95. I was thinking about my progression because I was like, was it later 90s? Then I was thinking about it. I was like, no, I think by the time like 97 rolled around, I had went like just full Red Hat. Because believe it or not, kids, Red Hat was basically the Ubuntu of its day with its fancy incurses installer. It was so easy to do compared to Slack. But I'm glad to see Slack is still around and still as user-friendly as a coiled rattlesnake. Pedro, you being the youngster, do you have any experience?
I have used Slack, yes. Like any, I guess, like any Linux user, you have to at least try it once. Though I did run ZenWalk, which was the Ubuntu to Slack, what Ubuntu is to Debian. It was completely alien to me at the time. This was like 2009, 2010. It's like, this is so different. I was used to Fedora and Ubuntu at the time. It's like, this is so alien. This is so different. I like it. And I read it in my netbook for a while until, of course, Fedora came around. But that's a story for another day.
Indeed. Speaking of your netbook, man.
Yes. So, Lubuntu. You know it. You probably love it. Chances are you have that one box that doesn't run right with anything else unless it's Lubuntu. Just the bare minimum LXDE, and well, 1804 was released a couple of months ago, and the fine folks at It's Foss decided to do a little bit of a review of everything that you can expect with Lubuntu 1804, and it is still running LXDE, as you'd expect. Jill will get some more into that a bit later on, but yeah, they are saying that as it currently stands, it looks pretty much the same as the previous releases, but it's using the newer package versions. And for an old machine, I myself have installed Lubuntu 1804 on the ThinkPad T42. It's replaced Puppy because it actually runs pretty well, and it still supports 32 bits, so you can still install it.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to Lubuntu 18.10, which will be the first distro to use LXQT 0.13.0 as its default desktop. So that's pretty awesome, and we've talked about that on LWW in the past. And the interesting, the thing I was a little puzzled about. Okay, well, Ubuntu 1804 LTS is the last of the Ubuntus that will support older 32-bit hardware. So what's Lubuntu? What is their next base going to be? And all I can think of is it has to be Debian, because Debian will continue to support all the older hardware, unless they want to go to Slackware.
Well, this is true. I mean, they're making a point to talk about LXDE going over to LXQT, instead of being based on GTK2. And instead of trying to migrate that to GTK3, they're doing it with Qt. And it's like, that's an interesting move. It's interesting to see the progression with Qt, because way back in the day, that was the heavier option compared to GTK3. And it's like, times have changed. Just a little bit. Qt. What rhymes with that? KDE, maybe? I don't know. No direction?
KDE is right now the best Qt-based desktop environment, even if it's because it's winning by default. And, well, as KDE is in itself, they have a big enough team, and they have a large enough community. And now they have announced that Debian is joining the KDE advisory board, which is great, I guess. I mean, it wouldn't exactly hurt KDE to have a little bit of a stableness to it, and we all make fun of Debian stable and call it Debian stale instead. But yeah, KDE could use a little bit
Pedro,
of stale.
No one on this network has recently made fun of Debian, like including me yesterday in a video.
It's interesting to think of the implications that this may bring. Is like, oh, is this Debian saying that GNOME isn't scratching their particular itch? Are we going to see like a passive-aggressive post on the GNOME blog, like we have for every other time lately that something hasn't gone GNOME's way? Honestly, I don't think so. It's Debian has always been like the default DE has always been GNOME, and I don't see that changing because they also have the official KDE spin, so there's no need. Though, with that said, there is KDE Neon, which maybe call it a prediction, but KDE Neon may become Debian based in the not too distant future.
Yeah, and actually, this to me is awesome. In fact, the very first few times I installed Debian, I used their KDE spin, and it always actually ran really stable on Debian, and they've always had a close relationship. And Debian joining the KDE advisory board formalizes this relationship, and it wouldn't surprise me actually that it may someday be their default window manager because of Wayland. So that could happen. And momentarily, actually, they did Debian did have XFCE as the default window manager for just a brief period, and then they went back to GNOME. So it was GNOME, XFCE, then GNOME. But it was just a brief period.
I like Debian. It's the thing. I've never had a Debian installation that had X on it because I've never was like, this is a perfect desktop workstation. No, if I hated myself that much, I'd install Suzy and use it for a desktop. I like both distributions, just not for desktop usage. That's good to see. Good to see everyone getting along together. Up next, not what you think by the name. Another thing you probably don't want to Google. Catfish 146 is released, and on top of that, it's now part of the XFCE project. That's right, that desktop manager that I shill for aimlessly because apparently I hate GNOME or something. I forget how it goes. If we're being 100% honest, I had no idea Catfish was a thing. This was a hashtag TIL for this, but it is out, and it's a handy little search GUI. I installed it. I tried it. It was just stock on the 1804 box, and I was like, huh, that's there. I might have to install it. No, I think it was pre-installed. What it does, it goes out. You can find everything. It's basically, am I wrong by saying it's like locate with a GUI on top of it?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's pretty much that.
I've actually been using it for years, and I found it as a nice alternative to the find command. As well. So it's been out, what, 2008, 2009, maybe earlier?
Yeah, and it's come, if you install the Lubuntu desktop meta package in Ubuntu, it will pull down Catfish. And as far as GUI search engines, functions, software goes, outside of Angry Search, Catfish is probably right up there. It's light. And yeah, as much as I love sudo find / pipe grep to whatever you want to find, this could be an interesting way to do it through the GUI if you have an irrational fear of the command line.
Well, it's not that. I mean, it's definitely getting over learned behavior, because if I'm going to search for something, muscle memory opens the terminal.
Yeah.
It doesn't, like, even if there's a perfectly fine, things like, what is it? GNOME ships with like that system resource monitor. While looking at it with the 3-tab setup, it's excellent. It's a great tool visually, but HTAP, that's where I go 100% of the time. That's always the battle that I have to fight. What do we have coming up next?
Certifications, Jill.
Certs.
What's this about?
Okay, so this is 5 reasons open source certification matters more than ever, and this is huge. I've seen this as a big development in the last few years, and one of the reasons, demand for Linux and open source talent. That is it's huge and on the rise, and the demand actually exceeds the supply. And I've actually hugely been noticing this at the Linux conferences I go to, like Scale and the Linux Foundation events, where recruiters come in droves because they know where to find the cream of the crop Linux talent. And on-site interviews and job offers are common at the Linux conventions. So that's a good place you can go to get your certifications and training and find jobs. And the other reason, getting the interview. One of the challenges that recruiters always reference, especially in the age of open source, is that it can be hard to decide where you want to have come, who you want to have come to the interview. So, you know, when they go to the conventions, it's nice because they can get the one-on-one. And the third point is confirming your skills. Certification programs allow you to step back, look across what we call the domains and topics, and find those areas where you might be a little bit rusty. So that's really awesome. And confidence. This is the beauty of performance-based exams. You're working on our live system, you're being monitored and recorded, your timer is counting down. This really puts you on the spot to demonstrate that you can troubleshoot in real time. And making hiring decisions. As you become more senior in your career, you're going to find the tables turned and you're on the role of making a hiring decision. So there's are so many reasons to get an open source certifications in today's day, and the workforce really wants to see those now, and hopefully the schools will start adopting these.
It'd be interesting to see that, you know, I mean, as far as education, technical institutes and stuff like that. I was curious because Pedro was going through, you know, getting brained on whatever.
Yeah.
Security.
Right. I was like, what would it take to get my Red Hat Engineer cert back up to date? The EX300. I looked at that and it's like, yeah, no. Those days are gone, old man. Just let it go.
They are very pricey, and if work is willing to pay for me to get a few more courses and certifications, I think I might take some of the higher level Linuxy ones. I'm very much down for that.
Well, it was your birthday, man, and I'm kind of half serious about, like, maybe I'd foot the bill for your MCSE.
No. Yeah. I like maths at the base level. Let's not get crazy.
No, it's your Microsoft certification. Knowing that you had that, and
just MCSE, not AMCSE. Okay.
No, listen, I wasn't going to try to overreach. I was going to give you something you stood a chance of getting. Get your job at Redmond. It'd be great for the show.
Aww.
So I wanted to give this quick note. LibrePay, in a little bit of trouble. This is open source. I mean, anybody can deploy this system, and for crowdfunding, it's open for that. Pay what you want, and to help out open source projects. They've kind of had a little bit of a run-in with their payment processor, MangoPay. They're effectively, as I say, throwing them out. The service isn't shutting down, but it's going to be disrupted until they can fully migrate away from MangoPay. What happened is they walked in and they're like, hey, man, there's some kind of sketchy things, you know, getting processed through your service, through your site. And they came back and they said, you know what? Here's the thing. We can start checking all these things out. And the processor came in and said, a little late for that. But it's kind of sad because this was a good alternative to, you know, if you have like Patreon or Kickstarter or anything like that. I mean, this is an open source, completely transparent. They didn't take a cut outside of processing. It just never really took off, but they are still in business. They do say if you have money in your wallet currently, that's the main reason I wanted to mention it, go ahead and pull it out, or it's just going to get distributed. And if you are a creator, which we do have a thing on LibrePay, I don't think we have to do anything. So there is that. And I don't agree with what the processor did, cutting them off like that. Completely understand it. I think this is just going to be a learning process, because even Patreon, which we use, and we've been using Patreon like since year 2, basically, is like PayPal and their payment processors. We were talking about this on a pre show a while back, a couple of months back, because they said, hey, we're not, you know, X, Y, and Z. We don't want to process transactions or stuff like that. And it's one of those necessary evils, I guess.
Yeah, just cutting someone off without a warning. It's like the moment you see something odd and repeated happening, tell your business partners like, yo, this is happening. We're not okay with this. Do something about it. Give them a chance, because the way that LibrePay is talking about it, it's not. They didn't say that. They didn't provide an explanation of why they did it. They just said, no, you guys are out. Pack up your stuff. You're going. And that's a bridge you burn, and then people go public, and you burn a whole lot more bridges around it. It's a pretty big fire. Just tell people.
Handling it like that. Then again, the processor could have come back and like, look, these 16 accounts were laundering money.
Yeah.
Right. So back to more fun stuff, though. A tutorial for USB over IP, because apparently that's the thing.
Yes, it is. So if you'd like to, say, have a central machine with all your peripherals connected, and you just, once you're in the network, just get to that server and have, say, a webcam from your laptop that's plugged into the server, or a microphone, or anything that you can plug in over USB from the network without physically having to plug it into whichever box you're using. Well, fine folks at the Linux Magazine have a tutorial which lets you set up USB/IP, and it is I had a look through the commands, and once you have the server set up and it's recognizing all of the devices, it is simply just USB IP. Once you have the daemon running, USB IP, and set the launch it with the attached
and just look at
flag.
this, man. They hooked up a scanner to the system, not because anybody actually uses a scanner. They were just doing it because they could. I know what's going on here.
So you just run it with the attached flag, send it the internal network address of the server and which bus ID it's connected to, and boom, all of a sudden you have a scanner up and running that you can get over the network without having to worry about third-party drivers.
Yeah, this is really, really awesome. And actually, this is not a well-known service in the Linux kernel, but it's been included in the Linux kernel since 3.17 and onwards. And I had actually never heard of it as well. So this is will be fun to try. And this is actually, like Pedro was saying, a great way to network old USB printers and scanners and cameras across a network that do not have Ethernet ports. So this is really, really cool, and had no idea it existed.
It's a cool thing. The only, I knew this was possible, but the only application I could use would be video, and the latency on that is just nope. But yeah, like you guys said, absolutely a very neat trick. Even if you want to play around with it, this is like right up there learning. Like, wait a minute, you can do that. And it was like, I think it's learning that you can send pulse audio over the network. And I was like, wait a minute, you can do that. And I was like, I didn't have to buy all these Sonos speakers. That was a thing. So we don't normally get to talk about gaming, but we can talk about this because it's homebrew and Linux.
It's a Tegra SoC.
Joe.
Yeah, so this is really cool. Nintendo reportedly rolling out new, more hack-resistant Switch hardware. In the past on LWW, we've talked about how there was an error coming from the manufacturer that had burned out a fuse on the Switch, and they kept saying, well, that can't be fixed and that can't be fixed, but apparently they did with a firmware patch. And you still can run a lot of the hacks as long as you don't update your Switch to the latest firmware. So the fail overflow hack we talked about is still doable. And there's lots of other hacks as well. And
this one is just meant to address the fusée gelée.
That's right.
Hardware. It's basically JTAG over the USB debug boot shell. So this one is meant to address that. They just reinforce the firmware on the chip as the new consoles were coming off the line.
Yeah.
And like Jill was saying, if you still have version 4.1 running on your Switch, and even if it's a new one, because that's apparently what they're coming out of the factory with, you can still apply the fail overflow one which is software based, but the moment you upgrade to
5 point whatever
5.0.0, it's no longer possible. So yeah.
This is a pretty interesting thing. This is the half step measure, because like they're going to have to do a hardware refresh of the Switch in order to completely lock this down for another 3 minutes. Smart thing to do, because you don't know what's in circulation right now. Go buy about 10 Switches and sit on them for about a year. You get your money back, guaranteed. I'm just saying.
Yeah. Put them on eBay.
That is a thing.
You did a thing, Venn.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, you did.
I did it. See, what I did,
awesome
ladies
too.
and gentlemen, is I opened my stupid monkey mouth and said I was going to do a thing. Then other Venn, that voice in the back of your head, your conscience, some people call it. Mine's not a conscience. It's like, hey, you said you were going to do that thing. You're going to do that thing. So I did that thing. We did a review of what we are currently using. Jill's getting her return video from it, and I'm getting Jill's video from it, because we have two hooked up there. Having fun with each other. This is a review of our $70 1080p 60 HDMI capture cards, dongles, if you will, that we are using for the show. This is real quick. This is like 2 minutes, 50 seconds, because it's me. I'm not a talker. I got in, give you the business. What I like about it, it's 1080p 60, doesn't overheat. We used it for several hours Saturday. We're using it right now. Plug and play with Linux. There's no setup. You plug it in, it shows up as a webcam. Virtually lag-free. I would say it's slightly better than the Steam Link, and it's like $79. You do see some pixelization every now and then, but in the video, you can see what I'm talking about, and it's sporadic, and it's not horrible. It's like a split second. I do have some comparisons in the video with Serious Sam and Talos, and just some straight capture of Hollow Knight and Distance, because those were the games that I could, a bunch of stuff's going on, so you could actually see in freeze frame. And I mean, it's sharp, it works, it's priced to sell. And I think the only downside I saw with this was if you have two on the same system, good luck. You can make it work, but they have the same serial numbers. So, especially if you're trying to use both of them with like OBS or anything like that, you can't get it to say, I'm this device and I'm this device. There's no way to rename it. Trust me, I've tried everything short of recompiling a kernel modifications. So keep that in mind if you are out on the market looking for some nonsense like that.
Nice.
So yeah, Pedro, are you going to go pick one up? Because I'm sure everyone needs capture cards, right?
Yes.
I might. Not right now, because I'm very, very poor this month, but I might.
I guess one thing I should say, I did say this in the video, is I'm not going to say it's a common misconception, but I've read it a lot of times. People will buy one of these. We're not using it for game capture. You don't have to. You use X Composite with OBS, minimum performance hit, but they'll pick up like an Elgato or something like that and loop it back into the system, saying, well, this will do it'll offload on the system. No, it doesn't. So, I mean, unless you're buying a card with a hardware encoder that's supported with Linux, which we're talking some black magic type stuff right there, literally, didn't see any performance difference. I mean, we're talking like maybe 1 frame, 2 frame, and you couldn't replicate it, except for Deus Ex. Don't ask me why. Deus Ex, outside of running like junk, still...
That game has issues to start with, yeah.
On a Ryzen 1700 with a 980? With X Composite capturing, it was like 8 to 10% slower versus running it through the HDMI capture card and just capturing it that way. So I just wanted to let everyone know that I did the thing. You're welcome. No more things for a while, because that took an entire day. But that was my first Magic Talking Hands video. And I was like, hey, look, it's the guy behind the camera, and there's the hands. And I was going to do sock puppets, but I'm too lazy. Okay. Let's thank the beautiful party people that are making this show possible. If you are one, thank you so much. We're talking about people who support us on Patreon. Because if you like what we do, hey, man, maybe you consider, buying us a cup of coffee every month, because that's kind of what we're asking you to do. Hopefully, maybe you will. You can join over 100 beautiful party people who contribute to our illicit coffee laundering operation. That's right. Get some neat rewards in return, and our eternal gratitude. Plus, you can come hang out in Discord. It's like a fun fun, weird. All right, weird's the right word.
Weird,
Educational.
yes.
That's where we're hanging out the other 6 days a week. But you also get access. One thing, we're not big on paywalls. I mean, we have IRC. It's completely open and it's tied into Discord, so everyone can join in live. You know, we're not like, hey, give us nickels and dimes. We do want those 18 quarters a week, gimme. But we have a pre super shows, which is its custom. It's its own video. You get your own customized RSS feed that you can put in your podcatcher. Because if you're helping us out on Patreon, you are effectively our bosses. So it's kind of like, hey, bosses, this is what we're up to this week. Admittedly, like 20 minutes of every hour is going to be dedicated to what we're watching. Just deal with it.
Yeah.
But we do talk about what's going on in the show. We do have to read something, Pedro, because somebody sent us something off of our Amazon wish zone.
Yes, Mr. Admiral JT sent you an Amazon thingy.
Oh, man. Listen.
Yay!
HDMI cables came just in time because I used these when I was shooting that video. But you get to send a little thing that we are legally required to read against our better judgment as the gift. Admiral JT writes, he says, you need to put more cheap stuff on your list. And I'm like, oh, man, you missed out. Trugs ate all that stuff up. Trugs like, boom, all the cheap stuff's gone. And
including the pink chair.
Listen, that's kind of stuff we have on our wish list is like cable stuff we're going to buy and use. We don't use it correctly, but it's actually a good thing to go check if you want to see what we've picked up to put this joint together. Let's see. We do want to thank a returning patron down on Incognito.
Incognito.
DI.
Yay.
Welcome back, my friend. And
yes.
Go for it, Pedro. Go for it. I want to.
Scherwig von Havenstaven.
Yay.
You know what? I'll give you a B+ on that.
That was good. Pedro.
All right, that's pretty good.
Welcome. Stay tuned to the end of the show. You get your name in the credits and all that fun stuff. And is our way of saying thank you. All right. Shilling time is over. So let's have a slice of pie. Up first, how to build a Raspberry Pi wireless access point, because that's a thing in 2018. I'm just going to go ahead and say this is a project for your kids on the weekend. This is not practical. I mean, if you want to do this, of course, you're going to need a Pi 3 or the ZW. Look, that business this is from PC Gamer. All this business in our show notes, and you can check that out. I don't have the scripts enabled. That's why there's no pictures. But it walks you through setting it up, getting your DNS mask, all that together, the hotspot D, and it's pretty straightforward. I mean, this is a very verbose article. I think somebody might have been getting paid by the word, but yeah, setup tweaks and all that. That is something that you can do with a Pi. I mean, I guess maybe if you need to, slap some Wi-Fi's in the garage and you're like, all right, I don't want to buy anything. I just want to MacGyver this.
If you have a Pi with wireless running about, yeah. Although, this is an article from PC Gamer about how to set up a Wi-Fi hotspot with a Raspberry Pi.
Well, that just tells me that those screenshots that I don't have enabled are probably showing you how to do it from Windows.
Yes, that's the very first one, yeah. It's... I can't help but feel like the author, besides being paid by the word, wishes he was writing for some other outlet. One that, say, focused more on the DIY neat stuff rather than PC Gamer.
Hey, man, don't say bad things about PC Gamer. We love you.
I'm not saying bad things. I'm just saying there's a bit of a mismatch of content here.
Yeah.
Sometimes, I mean, hey, Windows users are capable of some things too. You don't have to... Just don't have to always assume they're munching on glue sticks. I like this. It's pretty neat. And I think the moral for me, I read this and it's like, yeah, go on eBay and buy like a $30 Linksys and slap DDWRT on it. Just save yourself that headache. Use your Pi for other cool projects, like what we have up next.
Oh yeah, this one up next also uses a Raspberry Pi Zero, and well, a team of it's mostly a dude, but he managed to draft a bunch of people to come and help him. They built a glider, which they had to wire very carefully not to let it, try to raise itself back up so it would just keep going and not lose any speed. And they attached it to a balloon, launched it 10 kilometers high, triggered the release, and then just followed it. And to do this, they used the Raspberry Pi Zero and an Arduino-based Pixhawk, which is the newer version of the old Ardu Pilot. And since the creator was already familiar with Ardu Pilot, he went with Pixhawk. And yeah, they got it to fly 122 miles. And once they tried to pinpoint the location of where it had landed, it was about 10 meters off of where the readout said it was supposed to be. Which, if you compare it to the original flight that they did back in 2015, where it was 10 kilometers off, yeah, that's significant. Going from 10K to just 10 meters, that's pretty good. That's really, really good. Good job.
When your progress is, hey man, we got it to land in the same zip code.
Yep.
Yeah, that's amazing.
That's pretty cool. Go ahead.
Yeah, I actually was amazed that after it creates a fire to burn the wire to release it from the high altitude balloon, that the glider didn't just blow up. I mean, they had to time that just right.
I don't know. I'm more surprised that it didn't fly away to freedom and escape. See helicopters keeping poor Raspberry Pi W's.
Yeah, well, it was an ingenious way to do it instead of having the scientific calculations and studies come down via parachute like usually happens.
Oh yeah,
so that's what was so great about this.
I'm glad it didn't do like an imitation of a Portuguese drone, or it got up there, or it was like, hey, look, a penny
right down into the water.
That's a thing. That's going to wrap us up. We got a little bit of feedback to get into. Pedro, how can the lovely people do that?
You can do that very easily by going to linuxgamecast.com, hitting the contact button, and making sure to pick LWDW from the little drop-downy menu. Then fill out your name, your email address, the subject, and the message, and then you got to prove that you're smarter than Ven's CAPTCHA, and then, well, good luck with that. That's why I haven't sent any feedback. But yeah, that's the easiest and most reliable way for us to see your message. Of course, if you're a Patreon, you can also leave us a comment on the Patreon posts. Chances are we may be able to get to your YouTube comments, but if it's just a small thing, we will just reply to you right then and there. And if it's like a big thing or a completely nonsensical thing, we will feature it right here, right now.
Absolutely. And if you're lucky, Pedro will argue with you.
Yes.
It's beautiful to see. This one, I'm guessing, coming from Jill, right?
Yeah. This was Shay Dean on Google Plus, and he was responding to the article why GPU prices will be dropping further because of the whole data mining and new GPUs coming out by NVIDIA and whatnot. And Shay Dean said, this is a case where we need to get hardware to Venstone, Pedro Mateus, and Jill Bryant for testing. I want to see hardware testing done by LGC. Seriously, it's hard to believe that the Open AMD drivers are worse than the Nouveau drivers. The reason for me switching is I want to use open drivers. And yes, Shay, the open drivers, the Mesa drivers for the Radeon cards are beautiful. Are really, really beautiful. You can get an older Radeon GPU running Vulkan with those drivers, and it's just really, really an awesome way to use the. It's actually more awesome to use the open drivers. The closed drivers I have stability issues and don't work on some of the GPUs.
The closed drivers, there's a horrible misconception with that.
Yeah.
The Fire Pro should tell you, Pro means if you're running it with CentOS, using it in Maya or anything like that, that's what it's geared for. You're playing it with games, it don't work. I mean, you can throw it against AMD for saying, because listen, say you're coming from Mac, maybe you're coming from the Windows. You're going to go to the company's web zone. They're like, here, download these drivers, because that's normally how you've done it your entire life. I don't need to go to a GitHub or a what? No. Then you install it, try to play games. It's like, this is junk. This is horrible. Then you learn, Pedro,
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any thoughts, Pedro, or are you just miming?
Yeah.
Can you talk?
It's no, I was thinking Shay was actually replying to the comments that were going on in that thread, and
Yeah.
there were a bunch of people saying, "Oh, the Nuvo drivers are better than the AMD
No.
open source drivers." Like, you what? What are you
Yeah.
talking about?
Yeah, and
It's,
exactly. Yeah. Yeah, actually, I'm sorry I interrupted you, Pedro.
Yeah, it's all right. Go ahead.
He's used to it.
Okay. But yeah, exactly what Venn said. I use the Nouveau drivers on my Fire Pros for rendering. So, and they work beautifully on those cards. They're really good for the OpenCL rendering. And but for gaming and anything else, you want to use the open source Mesa drivers. And it's the only disadvantage you will have between them and and using NVIDIA cards, which have really good proprietary drivers, is that multi-monitor support is an issue. So, so if you want to run multiple monitors, you really want to have the NVIDIA cards.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely an argument you can always
configuration.
get in with a proprietary versus open source. One thing, NVIDIA has supported Linux since the long ago.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, exactly.
that is one reason, and they've worked. I mean, before that, 3DFX had great Linux support. Then NVIDIA nommed 3DFX, and they kept up with Linux support right on. I'm digging that what Jill said's right. I mean, if you need to slap 7 monitors of a thing and have them configured weird, I mean, I have multiple X screens, but then I have like these 2 monitors tied together in one shot on the same X. I mean, it is easy to do. It's like laughably. It's like, I can't believe this is going to work, and you save it, let it. And then sometimes the NVIDIA thing's like, are you sure about that? I'm like, just trust me on this one.
Yeah.
And it'll let you do it. But back to the question that the article started out, why are GPU prices getting so cheap? Have you looked at the price of crypto lately?
Yeah.
yeah, that's dang.
This is
I would say
thing.
if you're looking to buy a GPU, wait till the end of the month. It's like early August. There's going to be some interesting things happening.
Yes.
I've had a 1080, not even a TI, just a 1080 on like the wish list just to watch the price.
Yeah.
I do not need that. The only reason I would even entertain getting it at that current price is because you and Jordan have one that irritates me a little bit. But outside of that, it is currently right now $499.
Yeah, that's almost MSRP right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, those were going for 7+ easy just a couple of months ago. So it's a good time not to be in the mining market, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
So JWP writes in. Hang on, somebody needs to resize things, don't they? Well, that's that. Maybe no.
I think you're giving Jill seizures.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes, I think it's happened a few times today.
Good.
Especially right when I'm trying to read an article.
Boop. Look at that. I want to thank both of you for covering for me while I was doing
yes,
that.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Show notes, he writes.
Okay, show notes.
Hi, team. Enjoy. LWDW, the deep voice one, not Pedro. Ooh.
Aww.
So I can't tell. Is that an attempt at humor or being edgy? Anyway.
Nice.
Never attribute to malice that which is adequately explained by stupidity.
Yeah.
just minimize the window, Jill.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
A full browser and a console. Recently, it began with a B, but I cannot find any show notes for LWDW or the YouTube channel. 1. Do you know the name of the browser and the console? ? Followed by 2. Where do you put the show notes? Well,
Browse.
it's called Browse. There's 1. Part 2 is where do we hide the show notes? We have a very, very devious system of concealing the show notes on every YouTube post, and a label that most people gloss right over called show notes.
Yeah, it's also followed by this URL. If you click on it, it will take you to this this website. I think it's linuxgamecast.com.
Well,
Yeah.
that URL thing, if you click on it, it'll take you right to that post with the show notes. Or you can go to linuxgamecast.com and click on our show, this show, and everything's in there. They're long, they're detailed, they're girthy. I mean, everything you look for in show notes.
Yeah, and there's a link to it on all the YouTube videos. So link to the show notes for every show.
Like I said, deviously hidden. Ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for us. We are going to bounce out of here. We will see you next week. Come join in the fun. With your support, we're able to stream 5 days a week. Tomorrow is another gaming night with Jordan and friends. It's going to be interesting. I'll be back Friday for trivia if you want to join in a little bit of late night fun in the Jack. And go check out Pedro's attempt to play Distance at a very cinematic.
Was miserable.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't. It was great.
It was horrible. We love you.
Pedro shows us how to cheat.
We're going to take a look at the credits. Bye-bye.
Yeah, don't quote that out of context, please. Thank you all, lovely people.
Yes.
All, what was it, 18 of you
wonderful.
who joined me yesterday?
Yeah.
That was atrocious, but thank you all very much.
Get our wonderful executive producers and all the people who contribute to our network. We love you guys.
Thinking of Linux Gamecast as a network, I guess, we have enough shows to call ourselves that, I guess.
Oh yes, definitely.
Damn.
Yeah, streaming 5 days a week. That's pretty impressive.
As the station manager and the producer for half the shows, I'm just sitting here going, oh, now you're just figuring out.
Yeah. Bye, chat room.
You should try doing some of the back-end production and all that. Yeah, you would have realized it a little while ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do a lot of shows.
Yeah.
Holy darn it. Ben, my eyes are killing me.
You're not blinking right now, Jill.
No. Oh my god.
It's just seared into Jill's retinas. And it's animated too.
It's good.
I was trying to do one of my segments on the certs. That's when it started. And I was trying to read the return video and couldn't, had to immediately switch over. Oh my god.
All right, so we've learned some things. Don't use the return video to read stuff.
Yeah, well, no, I don't usually. I have all the articles up, but
yeah,
but
that's going to be a thing. What's happening right now is that encoder is plugged in over USB 2.
Yeah.
So sometimes, and it's trying to do 1080p, and it's doing 1080p 30, causing a mismatch between the signal that's being sent. At the end of the month, I'm going to pick up some USB 3 speed holes for the Dells, which will resolve the issue.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I was going to ask you if that was what was going on. But it only happened a few times. But it was pretty intense, wasn't it? Pedro, you saw it the last time. Were you seeing it?
Oh, we all saw it, Joe.
Okay.
Yeah, we all saw it during the show. It's just that that one time it was really glaring.
Really bad. Yeah, it was long.
So,
and it happened to Jordan too.
For future reference, if that happens, life hack, minimize.
Yeah, just minimize. Yeah.
I mean, listen, and if you're getting high off of it, if it's giving you a buzz,
no.
If it's your thing, if it makes you want to grab some glow sticks, go for it. I'm not telling you what you can and cannot do. I'm just saying maybe for your own peace and sanity.
Yeah, minimize. Yes. No, but actually this worked really well then. It worked really well. We weren't getting the freezing issues and whatnot with software, so that was really cool.
There we go.
That's the uncut version, Gypsy.
There's no notes for the uncut.
Show. If you go to the actual show, it will show the show notes.
The edited.
That's the whole point of the uncut. You can't really do show notes on 4 hours.
Yeah.
Hey, if anyone wants to volunteer and create like show notes for the 4 hours, by all means.
But no, that person was definitely asking about the shows.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
it's there.
All the shows. 100% guaranteed.
Yeah, Patrick, there was a dance party going on, and it was burned into my good eye. I couldn't see anything after that.
Well, now Jill's told everyone how to take her down.
No!
Yeah.
Blinky shit.
Blinky lights.
No, I don't do good with
It's
that.
like a
no.
deer in a headlight, man.
There's some stores where, you know, they have the old LEDs that flash, and I've literally almost passed out from those things. So.
I got a strobe light somewhere.
Oh, no.
I'll see what I can get rigged up by next week.
Okay. I had to close my eyes during certain segments. Just.
I don't know why, but my phone has a seizure mode. It's not called seizure mode, but yeah, the flash LED just blinks really fast.
Yeah. Ugh.
My Nexus 10 tablet does that. If you cut on the torch when you have like something big open, if I'm watching like a 1080p 60, something that's chewing it up and that, like,
The CPU can't handle.
right.
Yeah, Patrick, that is true.
Or I could just like throw a couch at her. I mean, let's be real. For furniture gets stuff done, man.
A couch lined with strobe LEDs.
Exactly. No, Pedro, that would just be mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Arthur.
Charlie Chaplin didn't play with glow sticks.
Yeah.
Let's see. I can close that down. Me.
I don't even know what to say to that, man. I really don't.
Yeah.
Words escape me.
The weeb culture is strong with this one.
Yeah. It's strong with the Patrick force, the
I think you have to like own 4+ body pillows
Mirror.
in order to fully appreciate that and understand it.
Yeah.
Oh yes.
The force grows strong and something broke.
Oh, something's growing. That's right.
There were some suggestions, yes. Floss Penguins, LX Cutie, Venn did a thing, and coffee laundering operation.
Vote.linuxgamecast.com. Head there to vote on things that I'll probably not use.
Then did a thing. Aw, LX cutie. Like, oh, they're all good. Or I'll vote all of them.
Yeah, Strider didn't suggest any show titles, so they're all good. You
Yeah.
hear that, Strider?
Strider's not here this week, man. His MacBook ate him.
Oh, yeah.
Right now, he might be busy drawing the overlaps in the LGC credits.
Jill, you have no faith in that boy's ability to multitask, do you?
Yeah. He is a good multitasker, actually, yes.
He can stagger around and scream at the same time. It's a learned skill. It's not something you just pick up. I've seen multiple posts of Jordan body pillows on Reddit. I mean...
Yes, Zoe. Yes, empty. Very true.
Yeah, I'll grab something to drink, hang out for another 5-7 minutes, something like that. I'm gonna bounce.
Okay. My eyes are still seeing spots. Bad.
That's well, too bad Ven's going to sort it out probably before he sets up the second box, because I won't be able to experience that.
Yeah, oh, it was because you have vision problems too, Pedro. It was bad.
Yeah.
It was to the point where I was like almost frozen. I'm like, I can't look at anything. I couldn't see anything. And then Ven's like, minimize it. I'm like, I couldn't see it to minimize.
I have to look at it in order to find the minimize button. Come on, man.
Yeah.
You know, I want a body pillow with gay elf me. Not entirely sure the artist is okay with that, with the use it's going to get, but I want it. Yeah, it's going to see a lot of features in a certain Linux gaming podcast.
Oh, Jordan, yes. Jordan is very comfy. Aww. Yay. I'm hoping he's coming to scale. Yay! Jordan! I'd like to get Pedro there too. That would be so awesome. Get the whole crew. Pedro, Van, Jordan.
If you can ever find a plane ticket that's less than 600 pounds, yeah, sure.
Yes. Yeah. That's why that'll be on our Patreon goal, to get Pedro here.
That's a reaction you can have, Arthur. Yes.
Yay, Katana. He'll be at the next scale too. That was so wonderful meeting him. Such a nice guy.
Jordan's
So
trying to
with
see
him.
if he can trick work into sending him.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, because that would be, it's perfect, you know, it's part of your job, Linux, so, you know, that's how most people actually attend, is through their, you know, work.
And I'm kind of glad that a bunch of people at work have been going to security and ethical hacking and other such
convention.
courses. Yeah,
Awesome.
and they've also been asking, it's like, can you set me up a laptop for me to use with Kali Linux?
Oh,
Yes.
cool.
Yes, I can.
It's good to go to all the fun stuff, man. I was always shipped off to, like, I kid you not, Corel conferences.
Oh.
Those were fun.
Well-
and VMware conferences were the two things
Yes.
I got.
I've been to one of the VMware. They're
Because
huge
VMware
now.
was this new kid on the block, and they went, go learn
Yeah.
about that. I didn't
But
learn
the
anything
Corel would have
about
been the Corel would have been interesting in the Linux days of Corel and Corel
Yeah.
Draw.
It was an excuse to go to Vegas and get drunk.
Oh, yay, Ben. Well, that's the excuse we need to get you to come out to scale.
I've been to LA before. I've had my fun. I'm good.
Yeah.
Plus, if we do anything in LA, somebody's got to work the board.
Yeah. So we can.
We need to put wheels on that
Yeah.
rack you have with the mixer.
Well, I'll tell you exactly
Yeah.
what we're going to have to do if we're going to be doing mobile shows is we're going to have to break down and actually buy like an XR16, which is that entire
Yes.
rack in a shoebox.
Yeah.
It's just $500.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wish I still had one of mine from one of the radio stations I worked at. We had an awesome mobile setup. It was really cool.
Meat vaporizer? Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
It can also be used as a flotation device. Damn, Urban. You don't have anything for a vaporizer? I would have lost that bet.
Oh, try the American spelling.
I think that is that's the American. There we go.
Yeah,
as I said, the American spelling.
Yeah.
Oh, it has a Z in it?
Yeah.
Yeah. In American, the words ending in like Iser instead of an S, you use a Z.
Yeah.
You would think I would have learned that by now.
Yeah. Yeah, speaking of which, Ben, Steve Husband's vaporizers, they one of them broke, so I told him to get the one that you have, and also talk to Matthew, because you guys have a very similar setup, so that he stops real smoking.
You don't want to get the ones that I have because mine are for advanced people.
Yeah.
I don't say that with ego. I buy the ones that are dodgy and F around devices because that's the only reason I pick these things up is to play with them.
Well, you have the larger one that's more powerful, and that's what.
Well, I have the smaller one too. I have a Aurora that I just picked up as a single battery mod, but definitely like Strider. He does like tanks, and tanks kind of like what Pedro has.
Yeah.
That's what he'd be looking for.
The custom one is just the bigger battery for the Aspire. Which, it lasts a week. Instead of having to charge it every night, I can just leave it for a week.
And yeah, that's more that speed. High ohm, like a 1 ohm device tank. I mean, instead of like, what do I have built in this thing currently? This is a 0.1. This is a 280 watt device. You don't want to tango with it.
This goes up to 50 watts.
Yeah, I think that's what Steve Husband is using right now. I need to get him off the real cigarettes. So.
Well, take his cigarette money.
Yeah.
It's been a year since I quit cigarettes.
Yeah. Well, he was doing really good with the vaping because all his friends at work were doing it, and they were all doing a real good job. But his just wasn't strong enough, so he didn't keep it up.
You gotta get a decent one. A lot of people I've seen that have tried to quit smoking, they buy like the ones at petrol stations.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, I just can't get into these. It's like, nobody can get into those things. Those things are junk.
Yeah, they are. No, he actually goes to a store, but he always gets one that he can fit in his pocket. And I said, well, honey, you have to have one that doesn't fit in your pocket, so it'll be strong enough.
You can get one that'll fit. You can get like a regulated tube mod, kind of like what Pedro has.
Oh, okay.
This one is a little too big with the custom battery, but yeah, with the standard battery is tiny. Yeah.
Yeah.
The AIO, which is like stupid cheap, it's like $30. That's a decent one. Not the same vape. Oh yeah.
Poor Steve Husband. I'm sorry. I'm talking about this.
No, she's not. She just wanted somebody to talk about it with. And that somebody's the internet, Steve.
Yeah. Oh, poor Boo. I'm sorry. But no, he knows he wants to quit, and so this is the way to do it. He broke his vape, and now it's time to get a new one that works.
Just take up drinking, Steve.
That won't help you with quit smoking, but at least you'll be drunk, so it's fine.
All right.
Oh yeah, I had to mix up a new 30 milliliter thing for e-liquid, and I've used the pineapple concentrate this time.
Oh yeah.
I like the fruity ones.
Yeah,
I'll
that's
admit.
Steven likes those too. He likes the pineapple and the kiwi and the.
And when you mix it,
Yeah.
Pedro, I'll tell you one thing you want to do is shake and vape. That works, but find a cup, fill it up until it floats.
Mhm.
Take it out, put that cup in your microwave for about a minute, and put it in there. Let it sit for about 5 minutes. Take it out, shake, and let it sit overnight. That's going to accelerate the steaming process dramatically.
All right.
I mixed this morning after I got done jogging, says the vapor. I think I mixed like 90 milliliters. Made 2 of the big unicorn bottles, one of like Venn mints, that's where that name comes from. It's like this wintergreen stuff that I make. And the other one's just like straight up peppermint. That's what's in this one.
I got the mint pack too, and it comes like with 3 different varieties of mint. Yeah, those concentrates, since they recommend a 10-to-1 ratio, they last a while.
3. All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's been fun. It's been real. I gotta go make a podcast. Pedro's got it. What are you having for dinner, sweetheart?
Probably leftover of the takeout Chinese that I brought yesterday. Because
they're gonna start looking for those missing people sooner or later, man.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
No, there's a Chinese fish and chips place near where I live, and they also do just regular Chinese food takeout, so it's pretty good. And they serve well. You're also paying like 20 pounds, but yeah, it's got like 2 meals for 2 people.
Yeah,
easily.
What do you got going on, Jill?
Oh, well, I think I should probably do a little bit more exercise. I've already done it today, but I feel like I need to do more.
Right.
And close my eyes for a while so I saw some spots.
I feel you. All right. But I guess I'm going to open this monitor up at some point. It's probably going to be in a million pieces or just not work. Do you hear that, universe? I have no expectations on it being one piece or working.
Aw.
You got to mess with it back, man, because, fate's out to get you. That's a real thing. That's a life lesson you all learn at some point. Okay, hang on. Let's,
Bye.
wait.
Goodbye, everyone.
Damn it.
Love you.
Quit lying to the people, Joel.
Aww.
You know we love you. See you next week.
Yeah.